Twitch says the title is invalid. What? Yeah. Are we on? Oh, shit. Cool. Sorry, I was just fixing the headline on Twitch. So all those 3 people who watched the Twitch stream, didn't want to leave them hanging. Yeah, it's the post-fight podcast, SCMP MMA. I'm pretty tired. I don't know about you guys. I got John and I got Leon with me. Drake is in Vegas. He's just wrapped up all the press conferences, so didn't want to be too evil and ask him to jump on this because it's been a long day for him. Been a long day for all of us, guys. It's been a crazy day. Just get your initial reactions, Leon. Yeah, well,
it's like you're saying, where we are in Asia, it's gone 4 o'clock, and literally, my alarm went off at 5:45 this morning.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, I was watching the UFC, and now it's almost the end of the day, and the whole day's been just watching the UFC card. It's crazy how much time we dedicate to this sport and these 15 fight cards.
I've put up about 10 or maybe 15 stories actually already. And there are more to come. I'll be working till midnight, I think. But John, quick thoughts on this card.
It had a little bit of everything, man. It had a little bit of everything. It was a great card. I loved it from top to bottom. There was a taste of this, a taste of that, and some controversy. And we always want a little bit of that, right? As a media member, there's got to be something that we need to take away from this. And one of the big stories we're going to talk about later is the knee that shattered the bantamweight division. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, where do we want to start, huh? I mean,
wow, where do we start?
Yeah,
let's start with the title fights. Let's start with the first one to the third one, right?
Yeah, but which one is the most important? Arguably Sterling and Petr Yan. But why don't we go in chronological? We'll go backwards, reverse chronological. Okay. Jan Blachowicz beats Israel Adesanya, unanimous decision. I'm going to get the scorecard up, guys, because for me, that's the interesting thing to take away. I don't think you can argue that Jan didn't win that after those last 2 rounds where he used his wrestling really well to dominate Izzy. But if you look at the scorecards, I think Izzy only got 1 round from each judge. So it was a really dominant win in the end for Jan. He got 2 10-8s in the 5th round. Did you see it that way?
I think the first couple of rounds were closer, than what the judges are saying. You could go back and forth, right? In the first couple of rounds, like they were entertaining rounds. They were close rounds, and they both landed good hard shots. But when you get into like that 3rd and 4th round, when Jan was able to utilize his wrestling and slip under those counters, slip under some of those punches and get him to the ground. And I thought once he did that, he would have won both rounds. But 10-8, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I think he did a veteran move. He stayed on the ground, didn't allow any space for Adesanya to slip out. And yeah, man, the most important thing is to defend that title and to take that belt home. It's not to entertain the fans. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people get caught up in that, but it just didn't work out. And Jan, great performance. The judges, like Dana White said in the presser, they need to kind of check themselves and look in the mirror because, man, some of these cards, 49-45, I don't think it was that of a dominant performance. Do you, Leon?
No, certainly not. I mean, like you say, Dana White in the press conference afterwards slated the judges for giving 10-8 rounds. So I look at it on 2 ways. I think we need to see more 10-8 rounds because I think 10-8 is too vast. 10-8 can be almost a toss of a coin, or 10-8, 10-9 can be, like we saw, fairly one-sided. But on the other hand, I don't think any of these rounds were 10-8. Obviously, I think there was the 5th round. 2 of the judges gave 10-8 to Jan. But like you say, and like Izzy said in his press conference, it wasn't as if he was throwing loads of elbows, ground and pound, looking for submissions. He was literally just using his weight to lay on top of Izzy and win the round on the judge's scorecard. It wasn't a 10-8 round. It was only dominant in the fact that he was just laying on him but there was no trying to win the fight, no trying to get the submission, no trying to get the knockout ground and pound finish. So, yeah, 49-45 on 2 of the judges' scorecard is by far not reflective of the whole fight. I think the first 3 rounds were very close, and then Jan did win the 4th and 5th rounds. So yeah, that's my take on it.
The way that Jan won the round, right? Like he got the takedown like midway through the round, and he stayed on top, and he peppered him with shots, and I could see that as being a 10-9 round, right? But let's say he took him down at like the 30-second mark or the 1 minute mark, and he stayed on top for 4 minutes and did the same thing. I would lean that as maybe a 10-8 round, right? But yeah, some of the scores are kind of funny. They're fishy.
But we need, we've said it for long, I mean, at least it didn't affect the result here, but we complain about the judge's decision every week. Nothing happens. Even when the right result happened here, we need more consistency. That's the main thing. We need every judge on the same page. We also could do with one set of rules throughout the whole world, rather than there's some commissions using the old rules. Vegas uses a combination of 2. They use the new rules, but with the 1 hand down instead of 2 hands down, which again a bit linked to the Sterling fight. And then you've got other promotions using other rules like One Championship. It'd be so much easier and better for everyone involved if there was one set of MMA rules, and then we got all the judges on the same page. That would be a massive step in the right direction.
Yeah, sometimes Dana does say these things. He tries to protect his main assets, doesn't he? But I think he's fair enough to call out the judging there. I thought Izzy won rounds 1 and 3, but it's all a moot point, I think, in the end, because Jan did win those final 2 rounds, and I think he dominated them. So, yeah, it's all good, I think. No real complaints. After the fight, some fun stuff. Izzy said, I was doing, what is that? Doing lines. Yeah, instead of wine. Yeah, I couldn't sleep last night. Instead of doing wine, I was doing lines. A reference to Paulo Costa's excuse that he was drunk before their fight.
And Jon Jones with the cocaine.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jones was chirping away. We'll get to that in a minute. But I guess I just wanted to say Adesanya's taken it very well, guys, hasn't he? And there was a lot of respect between the 2 men, and nice to see in a way. And no real shame in this defeat, is there, for Izzy? Like he said, I dared to be great, and he did. It just didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing. He loses nothing. He doesn't lose any steam, anything. He loses a fight, right? There's too much emphasis on one fight when, at this level, and like fighting, you could swerve this way and it's the wrong way and you get knocked out. I mean, that's the highest level of the sport. I feel Adesanya's career is like just beginning almost in the UFC, even though he's done so much already. And we're going to see him back at 205. We're going to see him go back to middleweight and defend the title. We're going to see incredible performances, and it's going to be, it's going to be crazy. And Jan too. Jan's going to go on and defend the title at light heavyweight, and who knows? We might see them rematch down the line. We never know what's going to happen in this sport.
I totally agree. He had nothing to lose to a certain extent. He's the middleweight champion. It's a loss, and don't you love that? I mean, it's like the Conor McGregor way of, like daring to be great. Some fighters aren't prepared to do that. We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Habib, for example, he's definitely the greatest lightweight in the UFC history. There hasn't been any sign of him to challenge himself to come up to welterweight and maybe fight Kamaru Usman, which would be a dangerous fight because, again, partly because he's unbeaten, he doesn't want to lose that O. But I think any time someone's willing to take that risk, Conor McGregor-esque, whether you like him or hate him, he puts himself in situations where he may lose, and other people aren't prepared to do that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. What about, there's a question here from Tam we should get to. Do you see other middleweights start using Jan's game plan now against Izzy? Is that the blueprint? Just sit on top of him? Did Jan expose anything?
No, because that was always the blueprint. right? And the biggest difference is Jan or John. If you Google Jan Blachowicz, it says John underneath for some reason. But yeah, like he's a 205er, and he's probably walking to that cage at like 230, right? There's a huge difference between that compared to a middleweight, and then you got to have a middleweight that has good wrestling, and it doesn't seem like anybody has good enough wrestling or has that style to take Israel down in the middleweight division. It's, Yoel Romero was the one, but he's not even a wrestler anymore. He's a striker. And the only other person I remember taking down Israel was Marvin Vettori, and that's a very interesting rematch, I think, at middleweight. If Vettori can win and move himself into that title picture, man, I'm excited for that fight. I'll want to see the rematch. Vettori's 10 times better than he was when they fought. So this whole like, oh, you found the secret recipe to beat Israel is ridiculous.
I totally agree. That's been the blueprint the whole time. He's a kickboxer. Take him down, wrestle him. But no one's been able to do it. His takedown defense has been amazing. And like John said, he's not going to be fighting guys that weigh probably about 25 pounds more than him on the night at middleweight. And the other point was, even against Jan, in the first 3 rounds, his takedown defense and his wrestling defense was brilliant. It was only in the 4th, 5th round when Jan was getting a bit more desperate, knowing that was his only real definite way to secure a win was to get Izzy down and get him on the ground and lay on top of him. That he finally got him down and sort of laid on top of him twice. And like I say, it was just a huge size difference, which is why Izzy couldn't get up. But at middleweight, I think, be a different ballgame.
I picked Jan to win this fight from the beginning, right? I picked him to win this fight. I felt like he was the bigger, stronger, and more powerful fighter, and he used some of that to get the victory here. And you gotta give credit to Israel because he was in, other guys, when they go up in weight, they're going up in weight 10 pounds. Israel went up in weight 20 pounds, double that, and he didn't even weigh close to 205. So I don't know, man. Israel doesn't really lose much in this. It's, he gets the L, but that's it, man. Like, he could go home with his head high, and it's not like he went out there and got completely just mauled and smashed in. He went to the decision and he lost. I think he could I think he could take a lot away from this fight. I think it's going to be a reset for him, and he's going to be way more dangerous in that middleweight division.
I think it was crazy. He was a huge favorite going in. I mean, I had it kind of 50-50. I just thought the size difference is surely going to make a difference. But then Izzy is such a good fighter IQ, his speed, how good he's been, how good he looked in his last fight. So I was kind of sitting on the fence. But for Izzy to be the huge favorite going in, and especially against Jan, who's looked so confident and so unbelievable in his last 1/8 of his last 9, for me was just crazy.
Okay, some comments here. Jan is the people's champion, says Chris. Tristan thinks Vettori out-wrestles him at middleweight. And Chris also thinks Till is the only guy I see giving Izzy problems at middleweight. That's because Chris is biased. He's a scout.
Oh, my God. Chris needs to go to sleep. Take a pill and take a nap. Talk about Darren Till. I'm tired of Darren Till talk.
He was up late. He had a wine and cheese party, which I
don't care. Well, he's whining right now. That's what he's
Paulo
doing.
Costa.
Yeah. I went to bed early and got up about 4. So I was right on time and switched on. Tristan doesn't like that either, Chris. Come on.
Israel snipes Darren Till. Snipes him. I guarantee it. If they fight, and I don't think they will fight because I don't think Darren Till is going to make it. Even though he's an incredible talent, I think he should go back to welterweight, to be honest with you. I don't think he should be fighting in middleweight. Israel snipes him, like, hard, like worse than Costa.
I do kind of disagree with that. I think he's in the right place at middleweight. I hate seeing fighters almost kill themselves to go down to a weight division, especially when there's confidence. Till, if you're that confident, go up a weight class, put on maybe a little bit of extra muscle and fight in your proper division. Whether he can beat Adesanya, that I kind of agree with John now. I think that's a bit maybe far-fetched. Although it'd be interesting. Till's got amazing... he's got great Muay Thai. I think that would be a fun matchup. And that's the matchup, obviously, Adesanya said he's kind of really looking forward to at middleweight.
I think that's just because it's probably the most money fight there for him in the division. He probably doesn't think Whittaker or Vettori is going to get him much money, is it? And I can see that. Till and Adesanya is interesting. They're both good talkers.
I think it's down to fighting style and the banter.
Yeah,
I think Adesanya would love the banter, and he gets the English banter with Till. He's not necessarily literally digging you out. He's just having a laugh. He's just making himself laugh and making his fans laugh as well.
I'll tell you who else is having a laugh. Let's have a look at these tweets from Jon Jones. We all knew, win or lose, Jones was going to have a Twitter meltdown, and he did not disappoint. I don't know if you've seen these yet, guys, but where do we start?
See, Jones, just before we go on to his tweets, interestingly, he's put off going outside of his comfort zone for years. He's fought at light heavyweight. We talked about this before as well. He's kind of moved up to heavyweight now, where he's taken the pressure off him, because I think the light heavyweights caught up with him. We saw that against Thiago Santos. We saw it against Dominick Reyes. And he's took the opposite approach to Izzy. Izzy didn't put on any weight. Jon Jones, there's a chance he could be big. In fact, he weighs now more than Stipe does. So he's gone the opposite way. It'd be interesting to see how his fighting style transfers to being heavier and probably a bit slower.
Yeah, in hindsight, it's a shame we didn't get Jan Blachowicz and Jon Jones. Maybe in the future, if Jan goes up to heavyweight or Jones decides to come back down. But anyway, these tweets. So he started tweeting before the fight. And I think this is one, is it? He says, yeah, never mind. That's not even worth my time.
No, that was
Great
afterwards.
Job. Was it? Okay. Great job, Jan. There's 2 minutes left in the fight, but Izzy is on bottom. Great win. Yeah. If you ever wrote me talking shit about Izzy beating me, slap yourself. More dare to be great. Good job, kid. Thumbs up emoji. I won't click that video. The greatest striking MMA has ever seen. This shit needs to stop already. People so quick to jump on a hype train. Yeah, Jon Jones is enjoying it. Is it right for him to do this? Did I think we already discussed that? Like, Izzy didn't let himself down or anything, but it feels kind of half-hearted, these tweets, for me. I don't think Jon Jones. Well, he was always going to do it, wasn't he? But his heart's not in it.
Yeah, it's like he's just tweeting just because he expects people expect him to come out and say something, make a statement and make some headlines, since we haven't seen Jon Jones fight in a while. It's the perfect time, who else was tweeting? Henry Cejudo. We're probably going to get into that too. He said some wacky stuff after this bantamweight title fight. So,
and Vettori had this fight as well about Izzy was being quite vocal. Back to Joe. Yeah, that was funny. But Jones and Adesanya, from now until eternity, when one of them either loses, makes a mistake, says the wrong thing, the other one's going to pounce on it. It's like we said, Izzy hasn't really lost anything, but that's not going to stop Jon Jones from sticking the knife in and giving it a little bit of a twist. So we can expect that from them too.
1 second. Yeah, I'm back. I just had an email there. I'm doing some work while we're doing this because it's a crazy day. 3 title fights, so many other fights. Hopefully we can get through them all. So maybe we should bounce on to the next one, just so it doesn't take too long. But some comments here. I'll just go through these quickly. Tristan, I think Izzy at middleweight will be difficult to beat. Tan Ewan said Jon Jones was able to take down Daniel Cormier. Izzy has no chance against Jon.
That's the thing. I'd love to see a match up, and I kind of give Izzy the lead in the going back and forth online. But I think if you put in the size difference, and Jon Jones, he won't be prepared to stand. He'll use his wrestling for 25 minutes. It would be a tough matchup for Izzy.
Tristan saying he finally did well on Fanatics. So did I. I had a decent start. I didn't do well in the end. I picked Jan and Izzy, and then Petr Yan and Israel Adesanya, and got screwed over by Petr Yan having a brain fart and kneeing Sterling in the head.
But you know what though? When you bet and let's say there's a DQ, I believe everybody gets their money back.
Okay.
So what does Fanatics do?
I think I asked in the group, or I made some joke saying I want my points. Yeah. We'll check it out.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you get your points, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'll show the leaderboard a bit later because I didn't do too badly either. I had a hot start. I think I got the first 7 right or one wrong in there. Carlos Ulberg. But anyway, yes, Ongzor Miat says Jan said that somebody's O has to go. He predicted he was going to be the first man to beat Israel Adesanya, and he did. Hats off to him. I guess final thing on this: does this make Jan Blachowicz a superstar, or what? Where does he go in terms of popularity? Does he get more fans out of this, or what? I'm not sure he does because of the manner of the victory. If he'd gone and knocked Izzy out cold, maybe everyone's on the Jan hype train. I don't know.
One thing interesting about that is that Jan, when Jan had his belt wrapped around him, Dana White said that Jan turned around and said to him, you don't believe in me, and that rings heavy with me because I feel like they can promote Blachowicz a little bit more. I think that's what Blachowicz wants. He wants to be pushed. He wants to be the face, maybe in Europe. You know what I mean? Because come on, you need somebody else in Europe now. Khabib's gone, so why not maybe push Jan to that spot? He's never gonna be that major superstar. Can we agree on that? Do you think he can get to that superstardom level? Does he have like the persona? Does he have the swag? Does he have, you could only go so far with just performances, right? Am I wrong with that?
Kind of. I think his only chance is to dominate and be the next GSP, who obviously become a massive star without being a big mouth. But like you say, he's such a nice guy. He's not going to become a huge star from his personality, even though he's an extremely likable guy with a fun personality. I think it's difficult not to like him. The way MMA works in the West, the Conor McGregors, the Colby Covingtons, you don't have to love them, but when people are prepared to pay to see you fight because they either want to see you knock someone out or get knocked out yourself, that's obviously when you can take your own stardom to the next level.
Okay, and another question here from Ong. Who's bigger between Ongla and Jan? Well, talking fan base, I think Ongla has more because he's got 3 million followers on it, Facebook. But I think Jan Blachowicz is
more known worldwide, right?
Yeah,
worldwide. Yeah.
Well, hey, let me give credit because on our live show that we did on Friday for One Championship, Jan Blachowicz came on before weigh-ins and gave us some love, and then we gave him back some love.
Real or not? I've been thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you reckon it's real?
Let's just say it's real, okay? Because we don't know for sure. Hey, you know who else came on the stream and they won too? Is Rakic. Rakic came on the screen and he won his fight. It wasn't the most exciting, but he still won. Maybe
that's what
there's
made me
luck
more
in that.
skeptical. I believed it was Jan, and then when Rakic come on as well, I was thinking, hang on a minute.
Yeah, that was it. I was a little bit questionable when Rakic came in.
What's going on here?
Let's believe it.
Let's believe it.
Yeah. Okay. Chris Edwards Bailey saying Jan, along with Lewandowski, are the faces of Huawei in Poland and some other Slavic states. Yeah, I'm sure Jan is going to be even bigger in his home country now. We all saw the video when he won the belt. He returned home in the airport, got mobbed. Good for him, yeah. But I think on a worldwide scale, like people in United States and Asia, they're going to know who he is. I'm not sure. I'd love it if it happened, but I'm with John. I think there's a limit on his popularity, but there's no knock on him, and he's going to make more money now. He's going to have a better life for his family, which is great. Anyway, yeah, we should move on. There's so many fights to talk about. So Amanda Nunes made it look easy against Megan Anderson. First round submission, about 2 minutes, I think, 2 minutes, 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Anderson wasn't even in the fight, was she, guys? This was
no.
I think obviously the fight with Cyborg was quicker, but that was a fight. This was a one-sided. This is a blowout.
shellacking. That was a shellacking, right? Just what can you say? This is what we expected from Amanda Nunes, right? Either she was going to beat her up on the feet or she's going to take her down and submit her, and the lather happened. And there's nothing really much else you can say is after that, except for where does Amanda Nunes go from here? You know, it's just, you know, Cyborg comes into the conversation. She's tweeting her bus was parked outside the UFC Apex, like some undercover mission on like Magnum PI or something. Like, what was going on with that? That was just funny to me, you know. And yeah. I guess Cyborg was all over social media tweeting stuff about Dana White, about how he has a small titty or something. I don't know. She was
really?
Inferring. Yeah, her tweet was inferring some stuff, and it referred to the sex tape allegations and everything. It was, I don't know, it's getting kind of like dicey right there. But anyways, Amanda Nunes, featherweight division. What do we do with that? We just need to get rid of it, right? Just like, come on. What I think Megan Anderson was the last one. She's done. Retire the belt. You know, just let her go back to 135. And I think that's what Dana White was saying, that he wants her to come back quick and defend the title at 135. And I believe Juliana Pena most likely will fight for the title next against Amanda Nunes. And some people think it's justified, or a lot of people think it's not justified, but if there's no one else, you might as well put Juliana Pena in there.
Yeah,
she just lost Tony home, hasn't she?
Message here saying Amanda Nunes open to Chris Cyborg rematch, but she left. Cyborg said, "I'm never too far away." So he says
matter.
They offered her a fight against Felicia Spencer, I think, as well, and not a fight against Amanda Nunes. So yeah. Anyway, back to this. Nunes, guys, she said it herself. I'm still here. She said, I'm going to retire undefeated with the belts at home eventually. Like, no one's going to stop me. And I like this line. She said, I'm the lioness. And the lioness gets even more dangerous when she has to protect the baby lion. I don't know what they call a cub. Yeah. She's like, now I have my baby, who someone pointed out in the chat is very cute. Yes, that was Tan again. Yeah, guys. I don't know what to do. You think you do, but is the Cyborg thing worth doing again? What do you think about, like, just her finishing up and walking away?
She could walk away right now, and I would have no problems with that.
Yeah,
you know,
what Daniel Cormier said.
She has done everything. You know, she pretty much will walk away like GSP walked away, just on top. You know, pretty much beat everybody that they can. And there's no questions left. You know what I mean? Like, GSP didn't really leave any questions left. He kind of did, but not really. He beat everybody. Amanda, same thing. I don't know. If Amanda didn't fight again, I would be happy for her, you know, but I think she wants to fight as long as she can, especially with the newborn. And it's just paycheck stacking up. That's what she wants to do. And I can see her defending that 135-pound belt a bunch of times if she could continue winning.
Yeah, Daniel Cormier said if he was her, he would just keep fighting, keep winning, and just racking up these wins, because she's got a chance to retire with some crazy numbers and crazy title defenses and break all the records, because there is no competition. I mean, I think we all want to see the trilogy with Valentina before she retires. For me as well, I'd put Valentina very closely up there with Amanda, because a lot of people thought she won that second fight, and she's a lot smaller. So it just shows how good Valentina is.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, yeah, it shows how good she is to be that close to Amanda Nunes, is regarded as the GOAT when she's a lot smaller.
Yeah, a bunch of people in the comments want to see that fight as well. Josh, dude guy, says, in my opinion, she never got a definitive win over Shevchenko.
I don't know. The first fight was definitive, I believe.
First fight was, fairly comfortable. Yeah, the second one was it a split decision? The second one?
Yeah, it was real close. The second one.
Because Valentina thinks she won. She thinks she won that second fight.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
I think they could do another one. Yeah. Galactus says people forgetting how close Valentina was to beating her. Galactus also says Cyborg left the UFC to get away from Nunes.
Oh, come on. That's so funny. Like, why? Come on, man. Let's
Good old Paguru. Sorry, we cannot talk about tension today. We got to get through all this UFC stuff, Paguru, but hopefully we can answer it at the end or like on another day. But
I didn't even watch that fight, so
I didn't watch the answer. So
I have no idea.
Just hit up Paguru in the chat. Anyways, what was I going to say? Yeah. Anything else on Nunes, guys? Or
there's not a lot to say about the Nunes fight, really.
It's weird because it's like I totally expected that. I mean, I know who didn't expect that. Drake Riggs, and he said he's going to get a tattoo of
a goat,
with Nunes' face on it. So we're going to hold him to that. But
on his nipples. So
well, I gave Megan a puncher's chance, but you could tell right from the start that wasn't happening. She looked a little bit sort of daunted, and Nunes just looked completely at home, comfortable.
I feel like the first time Nunes landed something, she looked done. And then
yeah. It was like it would. She looked like how I would look like if I stepped into the octagon to face somebody.
All right, Josh saying, I guess the first one you could say was, but by the same token, she came back in the second fight in such a way that she deserves a third. Galactus saying it's true. Cyborg got face planted by Nunes. She asked for an easy fight, and when she didn't get it, she left. Chris,
I don't know if that's true.
No, there's a lot of history with Dana White and Cyborg. It's more than that. You know what I mean? Come on, guys.
But I think the rematch would be a lot different. Chris Cyborg went in there and just brawled. And I remember at the time, Clarissa Shields said they trained together. She went, "What?" She goes, "What were you doing, Chris? You're so much of a better boxer than that. You just got into a brawl and that just went straight into Amanda Nunes' hands." So I think the rematch, I'm not saying Cyborg would win, but I'd put a good amount of money on it. It'd be a lot more competitive. I think it'd be pretty fun.
That fight is never going to happen. I wish that we just could move on from that, right? Like, it's never going to happen, ever. Cyborg and Nunes rematch is not going to happen. I know we love to talk about it, and I know Cyborg is on social media. She's all over the news, after Amanda fights. But, man, you guys got to realize this is not – when she's over at Bellator fighting and she's the champ, there's never going to be no cross-promotional. She's not going to – the UFC's not going to buy out her contract. You already know what Dana White's position is on Cyborg. It's not going to happen. So let's move on and let's let these women rule the divisions, the promotions that they're fighting for. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much. We need to move on, right? It's just, come on. Let's go to Petr Yan and Sterling. Let's go.
That's a shame, but that's true.
Weirdly, there's 178 people watching. I'm not quite sure where they've come from, but I hope you're enjoying it.
That's not weird. That's just normal, right?
Yeah. Oh, normally we actually do 17,000. Yeah. Okay. Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling. As Kanena's Palkar, I hope I pronounced that right, says Petr Yan was smashing Sterling. I definitely didn't pronounce it right. Yeah, I showed you guys. Let's talk about the scorecard first. So there was one crazy ass judge who had it as
I can't believe someone had Sterling winning.
Yeah, this guy had Sterling the first 2 rounds. It was mad. I don't know what the hell he was watching, but the other two on the other 2 cards, Yan was 2 rounds up, and then you can't call it the red mist. I don't know what you call it. Just something descended over Yan. He didn't use his brain.
Well, he asked his corner. They played it back, and one of his guys said punch him. One of his corners said kick him.
No, because did you watch the post-fight presser with Yan?
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't see yet, but they played it back.
No, he responded. Someone asked him about that, right? So Peter came on and explained, like, they were yelling something. He said that he didn't understand what they were saying. He was just, responding on instinct.
Well, my reaction was he saw Sterling's hands up, and that often means someone's come up. He thought he's no longer grounded. I'm going to throw a knee, even though he had 1 knee down. That was my initial reaction. That's what I tweeted as well. So it was intentional, but I think he genuinely thought Sterling was no longer grounded because no one's that stupid. He wasn't that tired. He's winning the fight. And yeah, crazy.
Well, let's go back through the fight, right? The first round, it was close, but Petr Yan, I believe he knocked him down in that round, right? So a lot of people would score that in favor of Petr Yan. The second round was much closer. You could have went either way, I thought, in the second round. Third round, Peter was starting to take over. Fourth round, you saw this is when this all happened, right? In the fourth round, Peter was taking over. This is Peter's style. This is how he fights, right? He builds up every round, and that's what everybody expected. And it looked like he was going towards that way because Aljo, he busted his nut too early, right? He just came out really aggressive. And I was surprised by his game plan, right? I was like, man, he's going straight at Peter. Like I didn't expect that because that's Peter's style. And he was doing really well, but he ran into some big punches in the first round. He composed himself a little bit more, went into the second round, did really well in the second round, very close round. You could have gave it to Aljo. And then you got the third and fourth round. Petr Yan was winning those rounds. And the knee just, it's unfortunate, but it's part of the game. Peter thought he had his hands up, and I could understand that situation. And let's talk about the people like going after Aljamain Sterling for like not continuing the fight. That is nuts, man. Like, how could you let me knee you in the head? Let me knee you in the head in the street, and let's see if you get back up after I stomp you on your face.
Let me respond to that. I don't think he should have continued, but I thought he played up on it. And I don't care what anyone says.
Oh my God. Are you nuts? How would he play up on it? Dude, did you see his eyes?
Listen, if he took that, if that was a legal knee, he would have acted like it had never happened. They take blows like that all the time. These guys are crazy. He took a knee. Yeah, it was a bad knee. It was the right decision to give him the disqualification win. I'm not arguing with that. But he made out he was more hurt than he was. If that was a legal knee, he would have carried on fighting. He would have gone for the takedown. He wouldn't have even reacted. Instead, he's been helped to walk. He wasn't knocked out. He was completely conscious every single millisecond. So he wasn't knocked out.
He was concussed. He don't have to be knocked out. He was concussed. Look at his eyes.
We don't know for certain he was concussed.
Did you see his face? Were you looking at his face during the whole time he was concussed? He didn't even know where he was at. Like, the doctor should have came in, saw him right away, but for some reason they're asking him, like, are you ready to go? Do you want to continue? No. You looked at him, he's fallen back onto the canvas, he's concussed. Man, he even, like, if he was happy about it, he would have took that belt and he would have carried that belt, right? He didn't. He dropped the belt in the cage, left, did the post-fight interview. They send him to the hospital immediately. He didn't even do the presser.
Yeah, they've already released him from hospital. There's nothing wrong with him. Dana said there's nothing wrong with him.
Do you believe Dana White? Do you believe Dana, like, there's nothing wrong with Aljo? He was concussed.
I just think fighters take them sort of knees, kicks all the time. Look at who was it? Song Yadong. Who took a clean shin to the forehead. He didn't even blink. And that Sterling, he wouldn't have battered an eyelid if that was a legal blow. He wouldn't have done. He would have carried on and he would have bit down his gum shield and he would have gone for a takedown.
No, I don't think so. I think he was done. I think that knee, when it landed, he was done. Like, I think if it wasn't an illegal knee, I feel like Petr Yan would have swarmed, finished him with ground and pound, the fight would have been over. I'm just saying, like, he was concussed, man. I don't understand how you see that he kind of played the judges or played the
lots of fighters have said the same thing. So it's not just me. There's lots of fighters have tweeted Oscar goes to Sterling. I'm not saying
are you TJ Dillashaw's PR rep? What is wrong with you, Leon?
I'm not saying
he's
that.
Not an actor.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's people like Jimmy Manuel have said that. I think TJ Dillashaw was one of the people that said it. My point is, it was the right decision. Jan should have been disqualified. It was an illegal, completely illegal blow. But I don't think he was as hurt as he made out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God, Leon, I can't even talk to you right now. You're saying that a fighter in a championship fight was faking an injury. Come on, like look at him. You can't act that. You can't act concussed. Have you ever acted concussed?
Can.
No.
I mean, you can't act concussed. Have you never seen Rocky?
Are you talking about a Hollywood movie? What are you talking about now? Are you insane?
I've heard stories about Leon after 5 or 6 beers, and I heard he can act pretty concussed after that anyway.
Yeah. Hey, next time we meet up at a show, Leon, we'll knee each other in the head as we're grounded as a grounded opponent and see if we're not concussed. Come on, Leon. I know you know better than that.
Let me say hey to Chris, by the way. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Oh, absolutely no problem. I heard some of that Darren Till slander while I was out in the shop picking up some iced tea.
Yes.
Do not like that. I just want to say I've spoken to my family in Kingston. I've spoken to my Jamaican family in the UK, and they are absolutely over the moon for Aljamain Sterling. People are celebrating from Kingston to Montego Bay, Miami to Toronto, Moss Side, Toxteth, St. Paul's, Brixton. The Jamaican community around the world is absolutely loving the results. Fantastic opportunity for Aljamain Sterling. I feel so sorry the fight had to end the way it did. I have to totally disagree with Leon that he was acting. He looked so hurt when he was coming out of that cage. He looked hurt. I think in his interview, he actually looked still concussed or having some of the problems of concussion when he was talking to Joe Rogan. Yeah, I think it's really, really unfair to accuse him.
We've seen guys knocked out Sparko for minutes and not need help walking out of the cage.
Yeah, but look,
every situation is different.
Yeah,
you can't just say everything's the same. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just giving my opinion.
We have seen people get knocked out by a flying knee and be back fighting in 3 or 4 months. Cyborg Evangelista Santos couldn't do that after Michael Venom Page because he got kneed in the head and it caved in his skull. Every injury is different. Every knockout is different. A knee to the head is very different.
He wasn't knocked out.
Anyway,
we don't know he was concussed, and he got released from hospital.
Yeah, I think most people think he wasn't acting. I'm not sure. There's a split. Don't
get me wrong. He was hurt. It was a big knee. It would have knocked me into a different planet. All I'm saying is, Aljamain Sterling, how tough he is, how tough these fighters are. If that was a legal fight, a legal blow, he would have continued like nothing happened. And that's my opinion.
This guy's calling you out, Leon. Brian Taylor in the comments says, you sound crazy. Let me give you a knee. Always weak people got so much to say. Yeah, Leon. You vegans.
Hey, going back to what Chris was saying about Jamaica, I don't think you should be proud of this. I don't think you should be proud of this victory. This is not a victory. This is not the way you want to win the title. You know,
can we go back to 2001 when one of the greatest movies of all time was released, Fast and Furious, and Vin Diesel turns to Paul Walker in the opening scene and he says, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. And we Jamaicans were family and we will always big each other up, you know. A win is a win. He's got the belt. He's going to get a rematch. He's going to have time to tweak and change what he did in this fight. And he's going to have another opportunity against Jan. And, you know, it's not the best way to win the belt, but in some ways, he never totally won the belt. In some ways, Jan lost the belt.
I also believe him when he said he didn't want to win the title like that. I believe he was upset and that as well, because no one wanted to win a title like that. But again, it won't go back to Anthony Smith versus Jon Jones. Same thing happened. But Anthony Smith continued, lost the belt. He could have just took the belt, even though he was in a similar boat. Although he was further down the line, he definitely lost. Sterling, if Jan hadn't have done that knee, there's a 90% chance Jan wins that fight as well. So that's another factor you've got to remember. Sterling knows he was losing that fight. And the other thing as well is, I was edging Sterling about 55-45 in his favour to win the fight. And I'm a big fan of Sterling. I really like Sterling.
You know what's funny is that Sterling, all this time, he's calling Jan a paper champ, but now Sterling is a paper champ. Isn't it ironic?
I love that. I'm glad that
Hey, Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Can I just say one thing though? If it would have continued, he would have got the 5-minute break. Sterling, right? Would you have got a 5-minute break for an illegal, or is that only for nut shots?
Oh, everything, yeah, any kind of.
He would have got a 5-minute break, and Peter probably would have got deducted 1 or 2 points, probably a point,
maybe 2.
Yeah,
maybe 2. I would say.
So there,
I like that the UFC's the Dana White came out and said immediately we're going to do the rematch. I'm glad that they're doing that, right? Whenever Sterling is ready, come back, do the rematch, and it's going to be even a better fight. You know what I mean? Because now Sterling has been in there for 4 rounds with Jan, and now he can make the adjustments. Jan can make the adjustments. It's just going to make for a better fight, man. And I feel like the next fight, whoever wins it, is going to finish the fight faster. I don't think it's going to go like as long. I don't think it's going to go to a decision. I think these guys are going to go at it. And the buildup is going to be even more crazy because they're going to be trash-talking each other. But like I said, paper champ, I don't know. Don't stand up. Don't stand up because you don't want to win the title like that. But anyways, but congratulations. He has the belt.
Yeah.
Jan's going to be the challenger. Just flip the roles. Let's do it again.
The one thing I don't like is all the people out there on Twitter all complaining at Aljo for not continuing, saying the best Oscar goes to Aljo and stuff like this. When it's like, why is he getting all the hate? He didn't ruin the fight. Piotr is the guy who did the illegal move. He should be the one that people are like, it is his fault. He should be the one taking all the flack. I think probably if he was American, Petr Yan, I think he would have been getting a lot more abuse on social media, actually. But so
I kind of agree with that. Like I said, I don't disagree with the decision. It was the right decision. I think Sterling probably felt guilty for winning the belt of that. And he thought, if I don't look hurt, I'm going to get slated. Even though it was the right decision, even if he didn't hurt that much, it was still the right decision to disqualify Jan and give him the win. But if he just gets up all fine, walks off, he's going to get heavily criticised, even though it still would have been the right decision. That's partly as well why I think he played up on it a little bit. The other thing I was wanting to say as well is I'm glad they're going to fight again because I love this rivalry. I'm a big fan of both of them. It's one of them fights I didn't see either guy lose because Jan, he's just one of them fun killers. And Sterling's just seems like a really cool, fun guy. And I love their banter. And it's kind of, they trash talk with a little bit of banter. It's not completely serious. So I'm glad we've got a rematch to look forward to. And then I think after that, like I think John says, I think it'll be a better fight. And we'll forget about this to a certain extent. And in 6 months' time, one of them will be the legit, well-deserved champion.
Yeah, it works out because we're going to see Sandhagen fight TJ because Sandhagen said he came out and said, no, he said that he's been offered the fight with
exactly.
TJ.
So they've got a fight anyway, so you could put them on the same card and then the winners face the winner. Otherwise, if this fight finished normally, they'd have had to wait for the, like you say, the Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw fight anyway. Now they don't have to wait so long. So it's kind of worked out well.
Yeah, I like TJ. He's also doing that like heel role now. Have you noticed it? Now he's tweeting out stuff against people and he's the one who cheated and was suspended for 2 years, but he doesn't seem like that even matters anymore. And I love it, man. I love this Bantamweight division. It's exciting. And Brian Taylor, hey, you can just leave. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brian, you can't even spell your first name correctly.
Exactly. Brian.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No T in Brian. And it should start with a capital B and a capital T.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Their Opinion.
And your A should be a capital A as well because the first letter of a sentence.
Okay. We got to move this on. So what else we wanted to discuss about Sterling or what everyone got there saying? When do you want to do that rematch? How long you got to wait? Because he's been concussed, right? Unless he's acting like everyone says.
No, well, we don't know he's concussed. You can look concussed.
Let's say
you can look concussed when you wake up in the morning. I certainly look concussed when I'm hungover. So to say he looked concussed, yeah, of course, you can win a fight comfortably and come out of it looking concussed.
Okay.
You look concussed right now, Leon. What are you talking about?
When they do the rematch, I want it to be September, hurricane season in Jamaica, 40 degrees, 100% humidity. You know, you're on some Siberia. He's never felt the heat like that. Give Sterling every advantage he can
Apart
get.
from he trains in Phuket.
He trains at Phuket.
He trains in Phuket.
Let Jan smoke some of the special Jamaican herbs. Maybe let him have a few pina coladas by the pool. Put him in the octagon and let Sterling get that belt. Come on, Jamaica.
Yeah, no, let's book 2 more fights. One in Syria and one in Jamaica
Syria.
and one
Syria.
in
I think there's a war going on over there.
Siberia and one in
Jamaica.
one in Jamaica.
Yeah,
Let's
make it
a
trilogy.
Rocky versus Drago.
All right, Tristan thinks, August or September is good for the rematch. Maybe the same colours. Masvidal, Usman. Okay, I like the sound of that. Just depends, yeah. If Sterling does have a concussion, not saying if he doesn't or whatever, but if he does, he might.
I might be 100% wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'm giving my opinion, and I guess we'll find out roughly when the fight's booked again. If it's in 6 months or whether it's in 3 or 4 months, well, obviously the schedule is going to be a factor as well. But like Dana said, he's been released from hospital already.
All right.
So,
Galactus said he looked very tired when he took that crazy knee. He was messed up, was not acting. Anyway, put them
that's
in
another
Syria.
thing as well. He was extremely tired when he took that blow as well. So, yeah, there's that as well.
I thought if he is acting, he's going to just take a bit of time because he's tired, right? Yeah, but the doctor said he can't continue. I trust doctors on most things. So
yeah,
it's not easy to get. It's not easy to get one of those medical degrees. So I'm not just a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah,
If let me just say this before we move on to the next thing. If he was acting, he would have took the 5 minutes and he would have continued. Let's just say that. If he was acting.
Not necessarily. Why would you carry on if you don't
Why
need
would
to?
you win the belt with all that controversy when you know the rematch will happen? Why would you do that?
If you know,
why would you want to be known as the guy that won the belt off a DQ and then got the rematch and lost the belt? That looks even worse.
Let's rewind back to Jon Jones versus Anthony Smith. Ariel Helwani tweeted afterwards, "I would have took the win." Lots of people in that situation, lots of people will take the win, especially fighters. They're winners. I mean, look at DC. I don't know if you saw that their weigh-in show the other day. He's cheating, playing a name game. There's no stopping these. They're driven. They dedicate their life to winning the belt. They've dedicated their last 2 or 3 months to a camp, going through hell, maybe being away from their family. You're in that fight. Are you going to take a win if it's handed to you on a plate?
Imagine all the DMs.
Well, not of course you are. But
imagine all the messages that Aljamain Sterling's getting right now from people in Russia. Just imagine the messages, man. Just imagine it. Just insane.
Messages. Yes.
He's learning a bit of Russian as well, so he'll be able to understand them.
All right, let's go, man. There's a bunch of other good fights that happened earlier in the night, though.
100%.
Yeah, let me move it on because otherwise we could be here all day. So I don't think we need to spend too much time, guys, on Rakic and Santos.
This is the thing is, though, the thing that makes the Rakic-Santos fight so absolutely amazing is if you look at these 2 light heavyweight fights tonight, do you know who won? Glover Teixeira actually won without even fighting. He got pretty much the best results. He got a boring Rakic versus Thiago Santos fight that didn't really push either of them forward. And Izzy didn't win the belt, which means Glover's gonna get his opportunity to fight Jan for the belt, isn't it? This is like a done deal now.
He was always going to get that anyway if Jan won.
Yeah, he said it's Glover as long as he's prepared to wait a little bit because I want to have a slight rest. Yeah, guys, if you want to weigh in on that fight, please do.
Just one quick thing. Thiago Santos, is he ever going to be the same again? And why is he annoyed with that result? Because one is, it was very close. When fans say a fight's a robbery, when it's very close, it's ridiculous. It can't be a robbery if it's very close. But when it's that close and you've done so little the whole fight, you really don't have a right to complain. But then, Rakic wasn't much better either. But Yeah, it was a disappointing fight. Two guys, too respectful and too fearful of the other one. But back to my point, Thiago Santos, that's twice in a row since them crazy knee injuries. He hasn't looked the same. Is it in the head?
No, I think it's his body. I think his body has taken so much wear and tear, and those 2 surgeries that he had on his knees is kind of the last straw. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like he doesn't pull the trigger like he used to, and he's very tentative with his striking. And Rakic was very careful, but he just did enough to beat Thiago. Right? It wasn't like a total domination. And at Thiago, it's hard to say where he goes from here. Rakic, he doesn't make himself like a clear contender with this win, but I'm just concerned with Santos, man. Is he just fighting just to make money, or because his body just doesn't seem the same? I'm not saying he should retire, but man, I don't think he's going to be fighting anybody in the top 15 anytime soon.
Well, that kind of brings me up to another point I was thinking during the fight. I was thinking, we talk about fighters and what they go through in that. If you go through knee surgery, what a nightmare that is. To go through double knee surgery, how difficult that makes your life for several months afterwards. The sacrifices these guys make is, for our entertainment, is crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a unanimous decision, I think, and also Rakic got his brown belt afterwards from his coach / brother. That was a nice moment for him, but I don't think Dana White will be jumping to hand him a title shot, right, guys?
Nah.
He did not like the Gan Rosenstruck fight, so he's not going to like this one.
Not at all. And that brown belt thing was kind of confusing because he didn't even go to the ground at all in this fight. It's very odd.
Yeah, but John, this is the thing. Maybe his jiu-jitsu was that good, he didn't have to use it.
Did he use like mind jiu-jitsu?
Well, I think
mental
jiu-jitsu. It's predetermined, isn't it? If you've earned your brown belt, they just wait for the right time to give it to you. You don't necessarily need to prove it in the fight.
That's true.
So
you're right.
They would have thought if he wins this fight, it's the perfect time. You see it all the time in MMA. People get their belts after they've won.
Do you guys think Thiago Santos maybe needs like some kind of change in camp? Do you think training with your wife is always? Well, I know the teammates. Do you think
he's at AT&T. You're not going to get a better gym than that.
Yeah.
Well, like we said, we think it's just the injuries, whether it's physical, whether it's mental. Like I said, to overcome what he had to overcome after his Jon Jones fight, how much that destroys your life for several months is difficult.
Sorry.
To put yourself in a position.
Is he married to Yana Kunitskaya, or they're just dating? Dating. Do they live together?
I presume so, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you do with an investigation on their life?
Yeah.
Who cares, man?
I'm just saying, work together, train together, corner each other. Do they go to the toilet together? I don't know. Maybe they need a little bit of a separation. Who knows?
No, I think they complement each other really well. It's just Thiago's body, man. You know, like you get to a certain point where you've had so many injuries and so many fights. It's not like he's like a guy with only 15 fights, man. He has 30 something fights. So it's just, father time and just what can you do, man? You can't move like you used to, and you rely on movement and fast twitch muscles and all that, and that's what Thiago Santos was doing for a long time, and it's just not working for him anymore. Let's talk about Islam. Come on, the next Khabib. I don't think so.
So
you don't think so?
I skipped over one there. So this was the opener, Rakic and Santos, but after that was Islam Makhachev. He absolutely smashed through Dober, just smothered him for 2 rounds, and then got the arm triangle, I think it was, in the 3rd round. But the commentary team, of course, with Daniel Cormier, they were losing their minds, saying
they were gushing.
They were gushing. Khabib was in the corner. He was cage side. Is he the real deal?
We don't know yet. I don't think.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't think this win
over Drew Dober make him top 5 lightweight.
No,
top 10.
No.
Let's give him Tony Ferguson next. That's going to be as close as we're ever going to get to Khabib versus Tony.
No, I think they're going to give him RDA. I think RDA will be his next fight.
They were supposed to fight before, weren't they?
Yeah, they were supposed to fight before. I think they're going to put them together again.
I like that matchup. I'd like to see the Tony fight, although that's a tough one for Tony.
I'd much rather see him fight Tony than RDA because, man, like RDA is like, in a way, just the ultimate bloody gatekeeper. And it's like, I'm just so tired of RDA time after time taking like unfavorable matchup after unfavorable matchup, man. Like, can we throw the dog a bone? Because RDA is like one of the nicest guys out there. It's like, just
RDA is legit on the ground. I think he could.
Oh,
I think he
yeah.
could combat this wrestling that Islam has, and with Islam, man, he still needs to prove himself. I don't think a lot of people are high on him. But he still hasn't proved anything. Drew Dober is a guy that gets up to that point where he's trying to get over that hump, but he just can't get over it. And usually the reason why he can't get over it is because he gets submitted. And if you notice, like his last fight that he lost was against Beneil Dariush, who is a top 10 fighter now. He was submitted in that fight. Drew Dober has to get his ground game right and his defensive wrestling. And once he does that, I think he could kind of hang with the top 10. But right now, it just shows you that this win is a good win, but it's not that big of a win for Islam. This is just something that people expected out of him. Because if you look at it, Drew Dober's not even ranked.
I was about to say that, yeah. I mean, I think RDA would be the perfect test for him next. That's a great matchup, but I'd rather see him fight Tony just because I think it'll be more fun in different ways.
Well, did he get Drew Dober, though, just because he's been out for a year and a half? Do you think he got someone ranked a little bit lower because he'd been relatively inactive for a year and a half?
That and on top of that, it was just like it just made the best fit, I think, because Drew Dober was lined up to fight someone else, and then someone pulled out, and Islam slid in. Like these guys just kind of like shifted with each other and kind of came together at this right moment.
Can I just add something very quickly? The reason why I just care for RDA is Gleason Tebow, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Jason Hyde, Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone, Eddie Alvarez, Tony Ferguson, Neil Magny, Robbie Lawler, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Kevin Lee, Leon Edwards, Chiesa, Paul Felder. I'm just saying, RDA has fought hard for a very long time. That's all I'm saying is. I respect him for it. And it is the UFC, I get it. But you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to give the dog a bone.
He sounds like Khabib in that video where he's trying to explain like football history to Manel Cape. That's what you sound like right now, just listing a bunch of names. 1999, blah blah blah.
It was actually
2000, blah blah blah.
Liverpool is what he started off with. Liverpool 2005. I always remember.
All right.
they were so much scheduled to fight twice in the last year.
Yeah.
RDA.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be a fantastic fight, but RDA just seems to take a lot of bad matchups. That's all I'm trying to say.
It would be a bad matchup for him because he's fighting someone who's extremely dangerous, who's below him in the rankings. Yeah. So it's a kind of almost a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
A bit like a Leon Edwards fighting Hamzat situation. Yeah, you get some brownie points for ending someone's hype, but you'd rather beat someone who's ahead of you in the rankings.
100%.
All day long.
Why don't we go to Dominick Cruz now and Hans Molenkamp? This was the main prelim bout. Did not see this one coming, guys. Is that the weirdest post-fight interview you've ever seen? Dominick Cruz got split decision, I think, against Casey Kenny. I'll try and get the scorecard for that. For that was a little bit.
That was a split decision, wasn't it?
I don't know what that judge was watching, but
one judge gave it 29-28 to Kenny, and one judge gave it 30-27 to Cruz.
I'll find the scorecard, but let's just talk about that interview because
it's on my Twitter, by the way. It's my last Twitter post. If you wanted to find it,
the interview.
No, the scorecard.
Yeah, I'll grab it off of there. But yeah, you know that meme where everyone says like no one, and then someone says it was literally like no one asked him who you want to have a celebrity fight with. And he just goes off on Hans Molenkamp, says Hans is holding fighters hostage and making them do free PR for them. He wants to have a charity fight with him. This is the guy from Monster Energy.
He's clout. Like, what is he basically saying? He's exposing a guy that's clout chasing. Right? That's what he's doing, because he's saying that he's making. This is what Dominick Cruz is saying. He's making like fighters go on his social media and post or comment or whatever, and it's like that's what Dominick Cruz is saying. Is not part of the job for me to promote you. You're supposed to promote me. I'm the guy that's getting sponsored, and now he's exposing that, right? And Dana White has exposed the same guy. If you remember, in like I believe like a year ago or 2 years,
2019.
yeah, and Dana White was saying the same thing. Who is this guy, right? He's a clout chaser. That's what these guys are saying, right? I don't know this guy, who this guy is. I guess he's the rep for Monster Energy Drink.
He's an executive. And,
he's the executive at Monster Energy Drink.
Triumph United as well.
Yeah.
I think he's the owner and founder of Triumph United, who make Muay Thai gloves, Muay Thai pants, BJJ gis, mixed martial arts gloves, stuff like that. Yeah, that's I don't know too much about Hans Molenkamp, to tell you the truth. I was a bit perplexed by the interview myself.
Yeah, I've seen him around a lot, you know what I mean? Because it's hard to like avoid him because he's always with a lot of the fighters, especially guys that are sponsored by Monster.
Did you see his Muay Thai fight he had last year?
Yeah, he fought some guy, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't even seem like it was even close. But anyway, Dana White doesn't like him.
This is Dana's post, which people have been bringing up, and Dana was asked about it in the press. I haven't actually seen what he said. Did anyone?
He defended him in the press conference. He said, "Is he goofy? Yes, but he's really good for UFC, really good for the fighters."
Yeah, because his Monster Energy Drink is the sponsor of the UFC. What else would he say?
I know. I'm just saying what he said.
Yeah, pretty suspicious that, Dana. I wonder why. Anyway, what about the scorecard? I've got that as well. I'll just bring that up on screen. As I was saying, though, yeah, 2 rounds for Casey Kenny on one of these. That's a little bit much, I think. I thought you could have made a case for Cruz having all 3 rounds.
Yeah, I have no problem with the 30-27, but I can understand how you can find 1 round for Drew Dober, but I think the first and the third, you have to give to DC now.
Not Drew Dober, right?
Not Drew Dober, sorry. Yeah, everyone knows what I'm like with names, you know. I should just call it red corner and blue corner. It'd be easier.
There you go. There's the card. It was Sal D'Amato, I think. No, not that one. He did all right there. Who gave Kenny 2 rounds? It was Derek Cleary. For shame. No, it wasn't. I got that wrong. It's Mike Bell. For shame on you, Mike. I don't know why this keeps happening. It's always sucks when it goes to decision, because sometimes, even with Jan, I thought, these judges, they could get this wrong, couldn't they? You're never confident, are you? When you see some of these scores earlier in the night, Izzy could have been a double champ somehow, but let's not get back on Izzy. Anyway, Dominick Cruz. Did you think Cruz looked good? I thought he got the job done, didn't he? Wasn't spectacular.
I think that's where we're at with Cruz. I think we're at the point where he is good enough to beat kind of like the fringe top 15 guys, but when he faces off against the top 15, he's just gonna have a hell of a time against the skill sets that, the threats that those guys in the top 15 possess. I mean, it's just, it's like Santos. It's just father time. His body doesn't move like it used to.
Injuries.
His training camps, and his training camps are probably much more altered than they were 5-10 years ago. And it's just, if Cruz hung up the gloves after this fight, I think it'd be okay. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he should retire, but I think it'll be okay to just like move to the commentating booth or analyst role. He's great at doing that. So, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to go chase after some of the other guys in the division. And I would like to see him, if he's going to fight again, might as well fight Cody Garbrandt again. Might as well fight a couple other guys that beat him. Why not? TJ too.
What I'd very much like to see, and I've been saying it for a while, I like old guys when they fight old guys. I think Cruz versus Frankie Edgar would be a really nice fight.
Yeah,
rather than putting him in against some young killer. But it all depends what he wants to do in the sport, really.
They're both in the twilight of their careers, aren't they? They both, although Cruz, he's coming off a win, I guess, but by his standards, it wasn't impressive. And you could tell he was disappointed in his performance afterwards, especially as he's obviously missed a no ring rust. But another point, going back to what John said, he spars a lot in training as well, he says. So that takes it out of your body, going through almost,
Yeah, Frankie Edgar. Uriah Faber's still about, I guess, as well.
Yeah,
No, I think Uriah's
basically
retired.
Yeah, and they finished their rivalry, don't they? I think Faber would come back to fight TJ Dillashaw. I think that's probably the only guy he'd come back for.
Yeah, I don't think
That's,
that fight's gonna happen.
A good segue there, mentioning Uriah Faber, because Uriah
Song
Faber was
Yadong?
in Song Yadong's corner, and that was the
Uh-huh.
fight before this. And Song Yadong lost. Don't know how he was still standing, guys, after that head kick. You mentioned it, Leo,
I know.
from Kyler Phillips. But yeah, Song just didn't really get going, I think, until that third round. And Phillips probably going to take his ranking now, jump up into the 14th spot. Song might get pushed out. Yeah, Chris, we both picked Song Yadong. Do you think this was just he looked flat, didn't he? We were talking a little bit on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, he did look flat. He didn't seem to try much. I feel like it was all very much plan A, plan A, plan A with very little plan B. He didn't ever try and really mix stuff up. This fight, I actually used the VPN to be in China and actually watch this fight on Migu to give Migu a go. And all I could see is in the comments is a lot of bad stuff being said about TAM in the comments, which I would assume is Team Alpha Male. I don't know if that's just the Chinese fans. A lot of Chinese fans seem to be a bit critical of them, which is an oddity, the amount of Chinese fans, Chinese fighters they do have over there. Yeah, I don't think it was a top performance, but I mean, Kyler Phillips, he's moved up, and I was surprised actually how good he was. I've never seen him perform like that when I've watched him fight in other organizations. And the interview, I think it was with Jon, was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, he looked very good.
Yeah, really good.
Very impressive.
John's not listening, Chris.
I'm listening.
I thought you asked him a question. Yeah,
No,
I thought Kyler Phillips looked really good. Sad for Song Yadong, but
he's only young though, isn't he, Song Yadong?
Kyler Phillips is also half Vietnamese, if you didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
now I know. I
So
did
he's
not know.
repping Asia.
There we go. I didn't know that. Okay, brilliant. Well, Song Yadong, where does he go now? What do you do with him? He got lucky a little bit in his last two fights, I think, against Cody Stamen and Marlon Vera. Finally, the luck ran out.
I don't think he's evolving.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think he's evolving at Team Alpha Male. It doesn't seem like, because he didn't make any adjustments throughout the fight. He was just headhunting, and Phillips was just pretty much doing whatever he wanted on the feet. You don't really see much diversity from Song Yadong. Did he get complacent because he's ranked and he's fighting the best guys and he's been squeaking out wins? I don't know, but man, I think he needs. I don't know if he needs to leave Team Alpha Male. Of course, that's where the fingers will point. I just think he just needs to make up some adjustments, man. He's still so young and he's fighting the best guys in the world already. You just got to give him some time to evolve and develop a little bit more. I think he should take some time off and then come back at the end of the year, just train and just get immersed in that and not worry about a fight.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah. Why don't we move on though, unless anyone has anything else to say about the song. The one before that, Joey B and Askar Askarov, pretty dominant for Askarov, unanimous decision here. Someone made a comment about that. Yeah, Tristan asked, do you guys think UFC will release Benavidez after 3 straight losses? Maybe they won't because his hot wife works for them, which is Megan O'Leary.
No, I don't think that even matters. Doesn't even factor into it. I don't think they'll release him. I think they'll let him fight because he's fought the top 3 guys in the division, right, and lost. So come on. And Askar Askarov, I think he's going to be the next title challenger after Brendan Moreno. I feel like it's clear because above him in the rankings was what's his name, Joe Benavidez, and then the next person was Brendan Moreno. There's no one else to fight. It's just Askarov is next for the title. Whoever wins between Figueiredo and Moreno, and he went to the draw with Moreno, so there's some little back history with that. But Askarov, he's a problem, man. The guy is, man, he's a handful. He can mix things up really well. He might not be the most exciting, but man, he wins fights, and that's what you need. So we'll see what happens with him.
1-2, 1-2. Am I better? Chris says my mic was low.
Yeah, much louder. Can I just add?
You tell me this shit before. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it just went down in like the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Joe Benavidez, he's such a great asset actually for the UFC if you look at it, because he's so well rounded. He's good in every facet of the game, and obviously he is in the twilight of his career. But the UFC love using guys like this. as a gatekeeper, and he's going to be a great test for anyone who really wants to break into that. Maybe top 5, maybe top 7, but Joseph Benavidez will always be a tough out for anyone. And I think he'll hang about in the UFC until he probably doesn't want to be in the UFC anymore.
That's what I was going to say. I think it more comes down to what he wants rather than UFC wants. When he lost to Figueiredo for the title, he said he didn't want to go out of that. He wanted one more fight to go out a more positive note. Obviously, didn't get that. So whether he still wants, he's probably not going to get a title shot again, is it? And that's someone like that. That's always your goal. Without that goal, how hungry is he going to want to be to continue fighting? And especially like Nick says, when you've got Megan Levy at home.
I didn't say that. That was Dirty Mind Tristan in the comments.
Nick,
I
sent you a tweet. Could you bring that up? I think it's an interesting tweet about Hans. It's from your favorite manager of all time.
Where did you send it to me?
On the private, on the StreamYard private chat.
Let's have a look.
But yeah, your favorite manager of all time, Ali. He shines some light on that situation with Hans, and I think it's interesting what he's saying. Very interesting what he's saying.
Screen no. Okay, what's he saying? Ali Abdelaziz says, "Monster of monster. Today, Dominick Cruz shined a light on a very sad situation in MMA. This monster sponsorship guy is like a modern-day slave master, making Hall of Famers, UFC champions, and some people I really respect kiss his ass. He tried to get some of my champions to play his game, but they will not do it. So for that reason, he never gave them a sponsor. He tried to have other managers steal Henry Cejudo from me to offer a monster deal to leave me. But we already that I body bag them, and we already know what kind of guy Henry really is. Loyal as they come. Also, we've had a situation with Cody, Kamaru, and they refused to sell their soul like Henry didn't. Monster is a great brand and is great for the sport, but this individual deserves an ass whooping." Oh,
well, you know what? There's one thing, though, that we can learn from this. This guy's been such a pain in the butt for such a long time in the UFC. With Ali Abdelaziz representing so many fighters, shouldn't he have done something about it by now? If Dana White made this one post about this guy so long ago, and his job is to promote fighters and look after fighters' interests, like, isn't it odd that Dominick Cruz has to be the white knight, to come and save us all from the evils of...
This happens in every walk of life. Look at the whole Weinstein thing in Hollywood and that. Everyone knows stuff goes on, but no one's willing to say anything. No one's willing to put themselves outside of the circle or to lose money or to...
Let's not compare Hans Molenkamp to Harvey Weinstein. But
exactly. Come on, Leon.
But I'm not comparing them
That's like comparing Leon Jennings with Alex Jones. Come on. There's nothing you can compare with that, right? So
I'm not talking like for like, but I'm talking about people knowing stuff about people, and people just don't say anything. It's just because it's...
Well, I'm gonna give you some something from my experience. I've heard about this guy since back in the day. I've heard bad things about this guy since back in the day. I just never said anything publicly, but I've heard stuff, being involved in this industry. But Monster Energy Drink probably invests like $5 million, $100 million into the UFC, to where it's like it's right in the middle of the octagon. Imagine how much does that space cost? Do you guys have an idea of the center of the octagon, how much it costs to advertise in there?
I think it's about $25.
No, $25 million a year.
It's $25 million a year.
No, I don't know. I just made that number up. But I'm just saying it's got to cost a lot of money, from the figures that I've heard about sponsorships getting percentages, or the UFC taking percentages from sponsorships when fighters used to have sponsorships on their shorts, and it must be an incredible amount. But yeah, I don't think the UFC is going to come out and like say anything against Monster Energy Drink. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's up to the managers, up to the fighters to fight back, man. Because think about it. The guys have not signed with the UFC because they're not allowed to have sponsors. There's guys that are out there like that, and it's going to continue. So it is what it is, man. But I'm glad this is getting out there. I'm glad that some fighters have been screwed over, and they're shining a light. And Ali, he always tells the truth. Wink, wink.
It's a crazy situation. But I tell you what, I put that story. I did a news story on what Cruz said, and it blew up immediately on Google.
In 2019.
Anything with Monster Energy drink, right? Like Google
I didn't
Monster
even
Energy
put
drink,
Monster
right?
in the headline.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
There's an article from The Athletic from 2019 where they got it as between $9 and $10 million a year for the center of the octagon, the logo, but they just renewed the deal 6 days ago, so it's probably more now, but somewhere in that ballpark, I guess.
Yeah, nothing against. I love Monster Energy drink. I drink it from time to time, right? And I think that they have huge deals with certain athletes in certain countries because they're popular in their country. So there's a lot of intertwining pieces with that Monster Energy drink deal. So I think the UFC is not going to come out and say anything. I think it's up to Cruz and all these other people.
Well, like Ali said, I think as far as the brand goes, Monster Energy are great for UFC, great for MMA, great for a lot of the athletes. But this one particular individual who I'd never heard of before 6 hours ago is obviously a bit of a knob.
I've seen him around on Instagram and stuff, and he always comes across like, yeah, as you say, a bit of a knob. He just seems to be a bit of a weird prankster.
I've heard knobby stories about him. I've heard knobby stories about people that have been around him. So I don't know. Like this. That little like emoji like this. This is the emoji. This is us right now. Like we don't know Hans, right? It's like
what we know is the UFC are not going to do anything because Monster Energy is such a good sponsor for them. Will Monster Energy do anything about? Because this is going to be bad press for them. But also on the other hand, any promotion is good promotion in when it comes to advertising your product. But
anyways, go to SCMP MMA. The website, go check out the article. Nick is a beautiful writer, and get all the details right there.
Yes. I think I mentioned earlier, I put up about 15 articles today. They'll probably put up 15 more, so it's going to be a fun night.
The most machine since William Shakespeare himself. Wow.
Yes, he's a machine. He's going to be knackered at the end of the night.
Knackered.
Oh, knackered. Sorry, you're going to be knackered at the end of the night. Let's go to Kai France. Let's talk about Kai France.
I want to talk about KKF. This is an awesome fight, and an awesome finish. Fight wasn't going too well for him. Rogerio Bontorin came close to nearly submitting him maybe 2-3 times. Looked like he was going to get choked. Kai just couldn't get him off his back, but somehow he eventually did. 5 seconds before the buzzer, boom,
bang,
nice right hook. Down he goes, and then Herb Dean kind of. Some people were bagging on Herb Dean, saying he messed this up. Other people said he did nothing wrong. Did Herb mess it up? I mean, all that was weird to me was that the buzzer sounded, and they had.
Herb Dean didn't know what was going on again. He was asking people outside the octagon, "What's happening? What's going on?" It's like, Herb, you've got. The thing is, I think Herb's almost too nice. He's such a nice guy, and I just think Dan Hardy's comments have really affected his confidence, and he's just. He doesn't have the what's the word? He's not decisive enough anymore. He doubts himself. He like even there, he didn't really stop it. He didn't get in between the fighters deliberately. He just found himself there, and then Kai France just bounced up doing the walk-off knockout and had to go around Herb. And then Herb's like, "Well, what's going on?"
All right. This is what I saw. Right, Kai France punches him. He falls face flat onto the canvas. Kai France walks off with his hands up, Mark Hunt style, right? Herb Dean is rushing. They kind of collide, right? They kind of bump into each other, but it's not clear that he's ending the fight, right? They just bump into each other.
Yeah.
And Kai France thinks the fight's over. He goes towards his corner. His corner tells him the fight's not over. Go finish him. That's why Kai France ran back to hammer fist him, but then that's when Herb Dean stopped the fight for a second time. This is I don't know, Herb Dean, I tweeted it out. I think Herb Dean has lost that high level of consistency. I don't know if someone's in his head, if the Dan Hardy situation messed him up. If you ever met Herb, he's one of the nicest guys you ever meet. Very professional, and he's very confident. So I don't know if it's about the confidence. I just think he's just not as fast, and his reaction time is just slowed down for some reason. And I just don't like seeing him deteriorating in that way, but it just seems like it's happening in front of our eyes, man. It's just too many fights where he's just
too indecisive.
Yeah, it's just like he's in the news too much. When you're a referee, you shouldn't be in the news too much, right? Like, look at Jason Herzog, right? Whenever you've seen him in the news, and he's at every show of reffing, never pretty much, right? Never. And he does a great job. It's just, I don't know. Her team needs to take a break, maybe. I don't know.
John, you go back. You go John McCarthy, Herb Dean, even when they were in the peak. There's loads of good referees out there, and all referees, right? If any year, even when they were at their very, very peak, Herb or John McCarthy or any of them, they always make 1 or 2 mistakes every year. And just the thing is, you have to expect it because it's a human position and humans make mistakes. So when you do that many fights, you are going to make mistakes. But the thing that I agree with is Herb's not a terrible ref, but those mistakes that were once or twice a year are becoming once or twice a month. Do you know what I mean? Not once or twice a month, but once or twice a quarter. They're just increasing. They're happening more often, and we're talking about him 6, 7, 8 times a year when it would happen once or twice a year if you go back 10 years ago. I don't know if there should be some system, like a yellow card system. I don't know if he needs some sort of leave. But then you think, is getting him to referee less fights going to make him a better referee? I don't know. It could just be an age thing. It's really, really tough to tell. But he's been very inconsistent for over 2 years now.
Yeah.
And the one thing we do want from our referees in this sport, same as what we want from our judges, is consistency. And the thing is, Herb is actually one of the few referees out there who has fought.
Yeah, he is. He is. Man, it takes away from Kai France, man. He goes in there and is probably one of the best comeback wins of the year. Probably the best comeback win of the year. And he gets a bonus for it. But he's kind of in a shitty situation. The reason why is because his teammates both lose and he wins. But in his last fight, all his teammates won and he lost and was tapped out by submission, right? So it's hard to celebrate, right? When you have this big win, and he just became a father like 3 weeks ago. Like he carried that power of the newborn child. I think Amanda Nunes did, and then Jan Blachowicz also went in there. They also had recently had children, and man, I guess there's something to it. If you have a kid, you better fight immediately afterwards.
That is my most hated joke that people say is when Herb Dean has been smoking too much herb. I've been hearing that joke for like 15 years. I hate that.
I think
what's next for Kai France though, man? He beats the number 8 guy. What do you do? I say he fights Tim Elliott.
He was ranked 8 as well. So he's now the official 8th best in the UFC in his weight class. He's official now.
I'd say he fights Tim Elliott. They have beef that goes all the way back to the Ultimate Fighter. I've talked to Kai about it. He just doesn't like Tim Elliott. I think it's a good time for them to fight each other. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that'd be a fun matchup. But just going back to Liverpool a minute ago, is this the first time you've ever seen 2 fighters fight each other that have the same ranking, that are joint 8th in the rankings? I've never seen that before.
I don't remember.
Can you ever remember a time of that?
No, I don't think it's
you don't often get people joint ranked, and especially to fight each other.
That's just stupid right there too. It's like, how are you joint ranked? Come on.
Well, it can work out like that, can't it? Sometimes you do all the 10, the dozen, whatever, do the rankings on points. Every now and then, 2 people are going to have the same amount of points and they're going to be joint ranked. But anyway, I want to quickly mention one more thing about Herb. It kind of shows the broken system a little bit, like we're complaining about the judging system. The fact that he's still getting main events because of his past reputation. At what point do you start giving the big fights, the main events, to the current best referees that are proving it week in, week out, like the Jason Herzogs, rather than giving it to Herb Dean because he has been genuinely, with John McCarthy, the best referee for so long? When does that happen?
When the commission gets their head out their ass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the only answer we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a long wait. Okay, what about the next fight then? Let's keep going. Let's take a look. Sorry. Tim Elliott and Jordan Espinosa. Wow.
What an excellent fight. This is what we all want. We want that beautiful claret all over the cage, all over the floor, rubbing each other's head in the opposition's blood. I absolutely love this fight. Can I just add one quick thing? Early prelims today, fantastic. The prelims, fantastic. Main card was a little bit slow, but this was the best fight to watch in bed. Really, really woke me up with a coffee next to me after a few too many glasses of wine last night. Tim Elliott, what a beast, isn't it? I mean, this guy's going to go super far.
I mean, the result aside, so decision for Tim Elliott, pretty clear decision. But did you guys see all the stuff that they were saying to each other in the?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. What do you guys think about the 30-25 as well?
We'll get on to that, but I wanted to start by saying, obviously, great performance by him, but I should put myself in the middle of the screen if I'm talking. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard it. But I tweeted about it. Yes, I'll get the tweet up here. I'll plug my own tweets for once because I don't tweet often. Wherever I did it, it was a long time ago. So some wild trash talk from Tim Elliott at the end of the second round versus Jordan Espinoza. He said, "I heard you choked a woman in 2018. You a woman beater? You effing woman beater." Espinoza, while Elliott's got his elbow on his throat, says back, "You don't know the whole story." Elliott says, "I know enough." And Espinoza says, "You don't know shit." And then the internet sleuths all dug out a big post that this supposed former girlfriend or partner of Espinoza put on Facebook. I didn't actually read it, but some strong allegations there. So, yeah, crazy to see this kind of trash talk in a fight, guys, isn't it? I've never seen that level of trash talk. But, yeah, I wrote a story on it, and that also went a bit crazy. But how does the UFC react to this? Because those are some serious allegations, and I think they muted the stream on ESPN.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to deal with it in some way, I think, or maybe not, because we see what Mike Perry, the treatment he got. Anyway,
it depends how big a star you are, doesn't it? How big the if there's any punishment.
They're gonna sweep it. They're gonna sweep it under the rug. I think they're just gonna move on. They're not gonna even address it. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Run a pregnant woman. Come on, you know.
Dana got asked about it in the press conference, and he said, "I don't know anything about it."
Classic Dana.
Classic
okay,
Dana.
then.
Yeah, I don't think it's. We don't know the whole story, so it's, that's a serious allegation, right? We don't know the whole story about it, so it's if we act one way or the other, react this way, we're kind of doing that a disservice because it involves a person that's not even involved in this sport at all, not even an athlete, just someone in their personal lives. And I don't think it's Tim Elliott's duty to beat somebody up because they think that they're a woman. I don't know. It's allegations, right? So this is not good, man. Not good for anybody involved.
Mm-hmm. But Tim Elliott, what a beast there. And I tell you what, when Galactus has mentioned it, when he had his head and he was literally rubbing it in the other guy's cut, I have not seen that before, but that was some pretty intense stuff.
That was nasty. And
what do you mean that happens every Friday and Saturday night in Liverpool? Every corner.
No, that only happens if you're there, doesn't it, Leon? Because you're always, aren't you, from a fight?
Well, no. Well,
anyway.
yes and no.
Galactus says
I can tell you some stories there.
And all the dads had extra power tonight. Yeah. Chris, you mentioned something about a 30-25. I'm trying to find a scorecard, but was that one of the scores?
They're all on MMA Junkie if you need them all.
I get them all on email, but there's about 55 emails. So going through now.
Two judges had it 30-27. I've got it wrote down here, but one of the judges had it 30-25. I actually didn't mind the 30-25 scorecard because I think there was definitely 1 10-8. But there could have been 2.
I got it on PDF. So there was a 30-27, a 30-27, and a 30-25. So make of that what you will. The 30-25, 2 10-8 rounds, the second and third round.
What judge was that?
Chris Lee, our favorite favorite dude. Okay. Next fight. Let's go. So many fights, 15 in all.
Are we going to go through all of them?
Well, something happened in every fight, pretty much. There's a couple I will skim over, but Kennedy, I've forgotten how to pronounce his surname again, and Carlos Ulberg. I think you got to talk about that because that was fight of the night. Yeah, 50,000 bonus for that. Ulberg came out hot, looked really good. Just I think seemed close to finishing it a couple times, maybe in the first round, but then Kennedy kind of survived, and Ulberg, who is top 5 most handsome MMA fighters, I just have to put out there.
Yeah. If anyone ever sees me on the beach, or anyone wants to imagine me on the beach, imagine my head on his body.
Yeah. He started to gas, and he's had his hands down real low for some reason, and then the inevitable happened. He got caught and went down, and Kennedy wins. Very impressive, fun light heavyweight bout.
The crazy thing was, not only did Kennedy, at times he just looked like he was out of it, or he either wasn't interested, or he just gassed or hurt, and he was just kind of taking punches like, just didn't want to be there. And then next thing you know, they're slugging away again. It was a crazy fight of momentum, more than most fights. The momentum back and forth in that fight was crazy.
Well,
from Adesanya had bigged him up, hadn't he? Sorry, I'll jump to you in a minute. Straight away, Chris. Sorry, I just going to say Adesanya bigged up Ulberg. This was his debut after he came to the Contender Series. Adesanya said he's going to be a future champion. Look bad.
He's quite young still, isn't he? And he's only about his 5th fight.
Yeah, Chris. Sorry, throw it back to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's actually for City Kickboxing. It's actually kind of a reverse of the Kai Kara France, where he was winning and then he got knocked out, and the opposite kind of happened with City Kickboxing. And, just obviously, usually they tend to get a winning record on most events, but very rare they go 1 and 2.
Yep, the picks, Drake and Jasmine went for Kennedy, and you and I, Chris, went for Carlos. So that was the only one I got wrong for a while, and then I tanked myself by picking Izzy triple or nothing with a KO.
I was going to say, Nick, what picks are you talking about? On what app? Of what app do you speak?
It's the one in that yellow scrolling banner there, Chris.
Oh, Chris, do you work in PR?
No, I wish I did. But I was just going to say to everyone out, get into the Huawei Gallery Store, Google Play, Apple App Store, and download Fanatics MMA. It's the best app out there. There's nothing better to do. Last night I had a wine and cheese party. I was barely talking to anyone. I just couldn't get myself off the app. It is that damn good. It's so good. I want to pay for it.
Yeah, I'll show you the leaderboard later on, but I'll get through the rest of the fights quickly. This is the app. We all picked this one right on there. Sean Brady beating Jake Matthews. A 3rd round submission. Impressive from Sean Brady. Someone asked in the comments earlier, where does Sean Brady go next? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it was impressive. Definitely needs a ranked opponent next.
Definitely. John, you can think of anyone for Brady to fight?
Yeah, I think he should fight Robbie Lawler next. I think that's a good matchup. Stylistically, a great matchup. And Robbie Lawler sitting at number 15. I feel like Brady needs a ranked opponent. Robbie Lawler's riding like a 3-fight losing streak. Why not, man? Why not put that fight together? I think that would make sense for Sean Brady. Or I wouldn't mind seeing Sean Brady fight Khamzat Chimaev next. That would be a good matchup too. Khamzat sitting at number 14. Let's put it together. But Robbie Lawler is probably better. It's a bigger name, a lot of stock in that, a former champion. It's a big fight. Sean Brady deserves it. He's been knocking off prospects and veterans, so why not give him another one with a big name, former champ? Robbie Lawler, let's do it.
I like that matchup.
Yeah, I like that too.
Give Hams that Neil Magny. That's the fight they should have made 3 or 4 months ago. Neil Magny versus Khamzat, and then make Brady versus Robbie Lawler.
Okay. Amanda Lemos this was a good knockout as well by Lavinia Sosa. Very impressive display. She didn't get a bonus, right? Maybe a bit.
No. No, they remember
Yeah.
those secret bonuses, right? So she might have got one
Yeah.
of those.
Okay.
It was just Kaikara France and Medic.
And
Well,
the
there you
fight of the
go.
night.
Uroš Medic. There you go. He's right below. Took out Alon Cruz in the first round. Absolute domination. Then gave a really fun, goofy interview with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And Trevor Jones opened the night. Another spectacular come from behind TKO. Not as come from behind, but he was probably down around. But then absolutely brilliant uppercut that he turned around into a hook, dropped Mario Batista 40 seconds into the second round. Excellent performance, and put that disappointment with the first result being overturned behind him, and revealed he quit marijuana for this fight and the camp. So he said, maybe I'll just quit it forever. So
what about quickly?
Sorry.
I just got quickly interrupt and say he goes to Joe Rogan. I've quit marijuana.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan goes, you can go and celebrate with some marijuana tonight now. Like,
Joe's helping them out.
Joe's probably selling it to him.
frozen. Yeah. If you guys want to talk about any of those first three fights, otherwise we can wrap it up, I guess.
Man, there's a lot of activity on Twitter right now. There's Petr Yan slapping back at Jon Jones right now. Come on, there's so much going on.
I want to say before we said that, what we didn't mention is the comment. There's a lot of flack about the commentary as well being biased.
That's every event with Joe Rogan, though. Like,
No,
it's
but
pointless to
especially
talk about it.
No, but bad, not necessarily biased. The main flag this time is how biased they were, particularly in the main event.
Of course, they're all like on Israel, right? That's just automatic. Like Joe Rogan is like Israel's #1 fan.
Well,
so
look,
what do you expect?
Joe Rogan and he always has had a big bias towards great strikers, great kickboxers coming from a taekwondo background. To tell you the truth, I started to get a little bit more onto the anti-Joe Rogan train in the last year, particularly with a great friend of the show, Tom Taylor, pushing me in that direction. But I actually thought that this is one of his best performances on a UFC. Bar the main event, he was a bit biased, but I actually thought he did a really, really good job commentating. I think DC kind of took the reins a little bit more on the analysis. I thought Joe Rogan actually did a much better job than he has done in a while. And yeah, I also like Tan Win has just put in a very, very funny comment in the comments. He's hoping the fighters get a share of the DraftKings money. What a good joke, Tan. What a good joke.
Oh, they will not. Yeah. Any other bits you guys have seen on your travels on Twitter or anything that we can mention? Curtis thinks the commentary was ridiculous. I totally agree with 4-1 Polish card.
I don't even know how the commentary went because I don't even listen to the commentary. Like if Joe Rogan's on the commentary, I don't listen to it at all.
Oh,
You watch your mute.
I understand.
No, I'm watching
There
another
was a funny
stream.
moment where Joe Rogan was interviewing Jan at the end, and he said he moved up from middleweight as well. And then Jan said, no, I never fought at middleweight.
Doesn't he get info packs about the fighters? Like, how do you
The thing
make
with Joe
a mistake?
Rogan, you can tell he doesn't do any research.
No, but they
got-
hand them information though.
I know, but he's got pretty good knowledge of MMA. And he's got pretty good memory for past fights, and he's got pretty good knowledge of BJJ and striking from his taekwondo days. But he doesn't do. He relies on it. He doesn't do any research. I think he's looked a bit worse recently because you've got guys like DC and John Anik, and even the guys like John Gooden, who you can tell, and they say you've seen on the videos, their video diaries and Fight Island, they do hours and hours and hours of research.
Well, look, let's be honest. All these other guys you've just mentioned, their main job is commentating or being an analyst, or their job is training all day or coaching. Joe Rogan, and he will always say this first, he's a comedian.
Podcaster.
And he's got the podcast, so he's doing a lot of other stuff. And I actually think he spent less time on MMA. He has less MMA guests on his podcast. I get the feeling sometimes he's maybe not in love with the sports as he once was. I don't know if that's true.
He certainly spends less time on MMA now, watching fights, talking to, like, say, MMA fighters as guests. Mm-hmm. I think that's true, yeah. But I forgot about his comedian. Has anyone ever seen him do He doesn't come across as a comedian or that funny to me.
It's not my type of comedy. I don't really like it. But you know what I would love to see the UFC do just for Jon Jones the next time they do a show in Korea? I would love to see Goldberg. I'd like to see Brian Campbell and Brendan Schaub commentate a 45 fight card just for Jon Jones, because I think he would love it more than anything.
He's not even listening.
Sure. Well, with the commentary, man, I feel like there's so many other guys that could take that spot now. Joe Rogan, he's done what he's done. You know what I mean? Like, he's given us great moments. And
he's iconic.
And if you listen to the post-fight interviews, I remember one fighter, he asked 3 questions, and every question was, "What were you thinking?" every 3 questions to a fighter is, at this moment, what were you thinking? At this moment, what were you thinking? At this moment, what were you thinking? It's like,
did anything surprise you?
Yeah.
Come on, Joe.
I kind of don't think about. Didn't Joe say he was never ever going to interview a concussed fighter?
Well, he's not. He's not in control of that. Like,
okay, because he said he wasn't going to do it, and then I don't think him interviewing Aljo tonight was the right move. I think they kind of put Aljo in a bad spot, really. Personally,
they did, but Joe doesn't control that. He could say what he wants, but at the end of the day, when they tell him to do something, he's got to do it. You know why? Because they write his checks. And when you got dudes writing your checks, you're going to do what they do.
How do you decide who's concussed? It's basically the rule that if you get knocked out...
Oh, my God. Let's not go back to this argument of concussed and not concussed.
The rules being recently...
Leon's concussed right now, Leon.
If you've been knocked out, you don't get interviewed. But concussed is completely different. You could not show signs of concussion. You could show signs of concussion and be completely happy to do an interview. The line is if you've been knocked out. If you've been knocked out, they don't speak to you. Concussion's too much of a grey area, and you don't know until you go to hospital.
Saliva test for concussion. That technology is out there.
Saliva test.
Then why did he even go to the hospital then?
When is there a saliva test before an interview? Hang on. Before we interview you, can you just spit on this stick?
Oh no, it's like actually an instant test you can do for concussion as a saliva test.
Yeah,
well, exactly. There's one industry that you need.
You're not going to start doing that.
Saliva test. I know one industry.
If you've been knocked out, you don't get spoken to. If you haven't been knocked out, you're fair game.
Why did he go to the hospital, Leon, if he wasn't concussed?
People get
if he didn't have a problem, why would he go to the hospital?
People go to the hospital all the time for precautions.
I know, but why? That's why precautions, right? Like there was something wrong, not just because he's like, oh, let's take a free ride to the hospital.
He'd probably still be there now. He'd already been released by the time that Dana White spoke to the media.
He is still there right now, just in his mind.
Dana White said he's been released, and this was 2 hours ago.
No, he didn't say he was released. He said that he was okay.
He said he's been released from hospital. I'm sure I heard him say that.
Oh, is that what he said? I thought he just said he's okay.
He said he's been released. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with. He said there's nothing wrong with him. He said that. Their exact words. There's nothing wrong with him.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with it. Doesn't mean that he's not. He's released from the hospital though.
If there's something wrong with you, that includes concussion. If there's nothing wrong with you, it means you're not concussed.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow if Aljo comes out. You know who's like salivating right now is Ariel Helwani. That's who's salivating because he's gonna have Dominick Cruz on to dig about that Monster Energy drink fiasco. Then he's gonna probably have Tim Elliott on to talk about the women beater stuff. And then like what else is there? There's a bunch of storylines that come out of this card. It's been the best card of the year, man. It lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed it, and I think we should shut it down because we've been on for too long. And I know Nick. Look at Nick. Nick is like, shut the hell up.
Just before towards that 2 hour mark.
Limit on 2 hours, so 11 minutes we max.
Yeah. Get your questions in. Or are you gonna the devil's lettuce?
Sorry, guys. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask us. And just while we're here, I just want to say, check out that Kyler Phillips interview with the incredible John Honko, one of the hardest working men out there. Remember to check out Kumite TV for all your prospect peaks. Absolute fantastic channel over there. I try and get over there daily. And then you can go the other way and check out our main man over here, Leon, Agent Persuasion MMA. Check it every day, in between the fights today. When I'm sat on the toilet, I give it a good gets the brain juices flowing. Fantastic.
Best place to read my stuff when you're sitting in the toilet.
On the dumper.
It gets me into deep thought. Sometimes it's a good place to sit and think. It's also a good place to stink. And
even better than that, it rhymed. Check out Asian Persuasion MMA every day.
Oh,
you've got the skills to pay the bills, Chris.
That's it. And then if you need a little bit more to read, you want the top to the bottom, use your free articles on scmp.com to read Nicholas Atkins, Stephen Foote, some of the other great writers that they have over there. Check out some of those fantastic articles. And yeah, just some of the hardest working guys in the game. And I'm always happy to be with these guys, whether it's post-fight, whether we're doing a watch-along. It's always fantastic.
Hey, next week, we got Leon Edwards finally returning to the octagon. I'm very excited for this. And he's facing Bilal Muhammad. I feel like this is a great return fight for him. A guy that's on the outside of the top 15, but he's been out for so long. In a way, it's kind of tune-up fight, but it's a very dangerous tune-up fight for Leon Edwards. I'm excited to see him back. I know the UK is has their pot of tea boiling, waiting for Sunday morning. But
not this English boy.
Right.
Oh, he doesn't care about Leon. But Leon's coming back.
Also, remember the man himself, Leon Edwards, born in Kingston, Jamaica. You know what? If you can get past Bilal Muhammad, you never know. Jamaica could finish the year with 2 belts. Who knows? Who knows? Nothing better to see Leon Edwards back. One of my favorite fighters. He's been slightly hard done by the last 2 years. Some of it his own fault. Some of it the UFC's fault. Some of it COVID's fault. Just he's had no luck. But
mainly COVID.
Fantastic to see him back in the cage. I'm salivating.
15 fights next week. Misha Serkinov, Ryan Spann, co-main event. Ben Rothwell, Felipe Lins.
Pavlov's dog.
Gay. Yeah. Danny Gay, Kevin Tucker. Angela Hill, Ashley Yoder. It was meant to be this day, but it got pushed back. Manel Cape, quick turnaround for him against Mateus Nicolau. Eric Anders, Darren Stewart, the dentist. Not a bad card.
If you're watching right now, make sure to subscribe, hit that alert button, because next week we got a gang of interviews. Like I have like 8 interviews that I haven't released yet because I'm waiting for UFC 259 to be over, like the aftermath and everything, and then I'll put them out there. But yeah, I got a bunch of UFC stuff. I got one big one from PFL, and then I got a bunch of Ryzen interviews because Ryzen's going to be up in a couple of weeks. So look out for that. Yeah, just all you have to do is subscribe to this page, hit that alert button, and then follow along. We just go back and watch my interview with Jan Blachowicz, man. Like that's a good interview. Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but I thought that was a decent interview with Jan. I like talking to Jan. Huh?
When you're getting the follow-up interview for me?
Well, I'm gonna hit him up. You know what I mean? Of course, I got to hit him up. But like,
okay, Jan.
Yeah. It might be a couple of weeks from now because you know there's priority. He probably has to do a bunch of media when he gets back home, which is most likely the priority for him. But we'll see what happens.
PFL, UFC, one championship. But also remember, guys, Bellator's starting soon. But the biggest show to ever hit planet Earth, I believe, is only 11 days away. One championship, The Apprentice.
Is it?
Oh damn!
Yeah,
really?
8th of March.
Did you see that like trailer, the director's cut trailer?
Yeah.
Man, Chatri's going hard on these people, man. Like it's gonna be funny to watch. It's gonna be very funny to watch. But anyways, UFC, man, it was an incredible weekend. You know, Drake was on ground zero, and he was doing all his work. You know what I mean? And shout out to him. Follow his stuff. Nick, he put out like 5,000 articles last week. combination of one championship in the UFC. Come on, man. We are one of the, like, I think we're trying to be one of the fastest growing websites.
Sports,
you know what I mean?
global
And we're
sports
pushing to
media
do that, and we're almost at 16,000 subscribers. It's like we're maybe 100 away. Hit that subscribe button, and we're running out of time. Any more questions, anybody? Do we got any, or should we get out of here?
Adam H is saying something about what's this?
What?
After you drop
I think
in,
after Jan popped into our chat the other night.
There we go. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're his favorite podcast.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, guys, come on. Is there any podcast you go out there where you see Victor Choi, Chatri, you have Rakic, Jan, Ongla dropping in the chats all the time? Come on. We even have Galacticus, who I believe back in the Marvel comic books in the 60s tried to eat the planet Earth.
Exactly. We got Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, JD Rockefeller dropping by from time to time. Adesanya's been on the chat, right? He's been there. He's shown love.
I would like to say we've got 9,000 viewers today, or we've had 9,000 viewers on this show for some reason. I don't know
this
why.
show,
Yeah.
this live show.
Yeah. So
Wow.
all of you who don't normally watch us, like and subscribe, like Chris was saying.
100.
Download Fanatics. It's all in the description.
Yeah,
and come
Fanatics,
back
get
and
involved. We're creating a community on Fanatics. Just go on there, download the app for any mobile device from 1953 to 2021. You could download it, get it on there, join our SCMP MMA group. If you win first prize, you're gonna get a bunch of swag. This month there's guys fighting clawing right now with with really solid picks. They're gonna get some SCMP t-shirts, Kumite TV hoodies. Those guys are hooking it up. So get over there and get your work in, get your picks in, and it's free. Who doesn't like free?
Everyone likes free stuff. You know what? I've seen those Kumite TV shirts. I have an SCMP t-shirt. You don't even realize the quality of production that goes into these things. These are not made in some back alley sweatshop. They're practically made out of silk by some of the finest craftsmen from Italy and Milan and places like that. We do try our best.
Yes, there's a region of in northwest Mongolia where they have these people in the village have very small hands, and they knit these shirts, just handicraft, just handmade beautifully, and once you put them on, it's like you're wearing you're wearing like a bunch of like feathers. That's what it feels like. So get your picks in. You could get those shirts, and that's it, man. We out of here.
I'm gonna find somewhere to eat. I'm starving. And then I'm going to do some more work. Plenty more stories to write, all this reaction to get through.
Let's go. This week, we got our podcast coming up. So join us for our podcast. We never have them scheduled, so it just pops up, whatever. And then I got my live show, my live chat. I'm going to have a special guest on there this week also. And yeah, man, just keep a lookout. That's why you got to subscribe to the channel. You got to hit that alert button because we got a bunch of content coming. So love you guys. And that's it, man. I've been trying to get out of here for the last 10 minutes.
I've given everyone the go home cue. Let's get out of here. Thank you, Chris, John, and Leon. Been a pleasure. And yeah, that was a great card. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen us before, we do this every week.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, baby.